So hi guys, today we're gonna be checking out something really cool, how to create splash screens. So I've done one already on my OMG Jokes app, which is currently on Play Store. And so if you really want to look at how to get this, you could go to Google and just search splash screen and for Android, but make sure you search for Xamarin Form splash screen, so then you would get that a section of it. But basically, this is basically what we want to have in there, and I'm basically just gonna create my own splash screen. So I'm just gonna put like a bare overview of a complete um, what I want to make. So I'm gonna go to my application that I currently made and try and run it for you guys. And obviously it's on release, so I'm gonna go to debug and I'm gonna say, okay, cool, let's run this. Now I just gotta make sure to show you what it looks like before I even start the process. So in order for me to run it on my emulator, I've got all of that chosen. That's cool. Use shade time, runtime. That's cool, that's cool. Ready, background task is running. Blah blah blah. Let's see if I can get this to run. Usually the release settings and the default settings. So if you look at this panel right here at the bottom, it's actually compiled to Java. Now this is one of the projects that I've done. It's not a very good splash screen, but it's something to get you started on how to set it up, basically in Xamarin Forms. So I'm gonna have a look at the errors right now. It looks like there's some disable word PC this thing. So basically, if this happens, guys, what you gotta do is you need to go to your BIOS and restart the entire PC and find a settings called WHPX and in the BIOS and reset it. So I'm just gonna do that for now and I'll be right back. So currently I'm in my BIOS. I had to cut off the most of these things. So now I have an AMD BIOS. So I'm gonna try and go to and find what I need to set, and I'm gonna try and show you how to set this thing, the AMD acceleration. So you go to advanced, and from what I've seen, I've done this before, but I guess my stuff just got messed up. So this is what you want. You want Intel VMX visualization technology, and once you get that there, oh, keep up looks cool. Once you get that there, you see that that's disabled. Let's just enable that part of it. Alright, all cores, that's cool. Let's see if that works. That's basically what you need to set if you have an AMD or Intel. Intel also does this as well in your Intel processors. So that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead now and exit and save changes. So reset. Yes, that's the only thing I want to change in that. Okay guys, so what happened was I had changed that initial change in my BIOS. So now I'm gonna have a look if I could build this here so there's no errors anymore, and rerun this solution so that I don't get that warning anymore. So you see build succeeded. Now I'm trying to run my emulator, and you can see now immediately the emulator boots up. Most people just give up on this process, but usually that's all you gotta set in your this thing. It basically just hardwires you to do acceleration on your CPUs, basically to preferably enhance emulators and allow emulators to split CPUs for different uses. So basically your CPU is now being split to your emulator that's running on your local machine, and you can now run um, your test device if you don't have a device to run on there. So I had to do that for this video. Normally what I do is I usually use an actual device to actually run the software. So I have a test device that I actually run the software on. But for this video, I guess, see, this is what we want. So this is an example of how we would want our splash to appear. Now you could create different splashes, whatever the case may be. I'm going to create a different one. I'm going to see how it looks, and we're going to go from there. So I'm going to see if this works. Okay, cool. So my app works. Very cool. And I'm just gonna exit this one by saying stop, and you'll notice that my emulator is still there, which is cool, but I want to kill this emulator right now. I'm gonna kill it right now, and I'm gonna go to, so I basically set up this entire project before for a splash screen, and we're gonna try and replicate it. The first time I set it up was a bit complicated at first, but once you get the heck of it, you would just move on to bigger and better things, because you don't want a blank screen from our previous reviews of our apps. So basically, I'm gonna open up a Xamarin application, one of our applications, which is actually Unbelievable Facts, which you can find on Play Store. And I'm gonna try and let's set that to Android and debug, and I'm gonna basically do the same thing that I did for this thing. Now this also, in the previous video that I had, where I had the app view renderer and everything, I've explained that before, how that works on the previous video. You could check the link above, and you'll be able to figure out how to put ads from Google AdSense into your applications. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and replicate what I've done with one of my test apps right here, and basically all it is on your Android side. So the first thing you gotta set up is, I guess it's most probably, so I'm just having a look at all the target versions, if it's correct, matching up with my emulator, and that seems correct. Okay, cool. So the first thing you gotta set up is from your resources in your drawable. So you go to resources and then drawable, and then there you'll notice that I've added a XML file here. So I'm just gonna open up this XML. I'm just gonna open up this XML file right here, and I'm gonna copy the stuff that's in here, basically. So I'm just gonna say hold pause for a second here. You can just pause and you can have a look at putting this out there. And what I will do is show you that I've got all this information from basically downloading from the Xamarin Android store. So if you go to browse code, you'd basically get all the demonstrations on how to actually get the code. So the code is actually here. So I'll put a link to this demonstration here with the splash activity, so that you could use it as a guideline. I'm not going to provide you with my own apps. It's better for you to use Microsoft products directly and understand the next time you working and developing on a project. So I'm basically going to create this thing on my new project now, which is year on unbelievable facts. So the first step is go to my drawable, add a new item, and this will be a XAML file, and I'm going to add a splash screen underscore screen XAML file right in there, and that'll be a blank slash screen. So I'm just going to copy the code that I put from the previous one into there. This is quite awesome right here. So all it is it's just mapping a splash logo to it. Now in the drawable, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the current picture that I have, which is blue JPEG. So I'm just going to say blue, and color will be splash. So now you'll notice there's a color imager. So then also we need a Xamarin color in your, so you go to colors, and you'll notice that I have a coloring here for my splash activity. So basically I'm just gonna copy that one line and just go to there, my values, and add my splash line. Now you can make this any color you want. I probably prefer using this color here. Maybe you should just leave it white for now so you guys can see it. So there's my splash background, there's my splash green XAML. The background is basically the color that will be behind the image on your splash. So I've got that one part set out there. The next thing I got to do is I've got to set up my splash activity. Now in order to set up my splash activity, it's really simple. If using forms capable apps compat activity, which is regularly the stuff that we use on this particular version, I'm just gonna copy a ton of this here and say cool, I have you, and I'm basically going to add this code into my new activity, which will be a CS class, which is basically, this is just a splash activity class. So you're not actually adding a like main activity, but you're technically going to make it a main activity. So what I'm going to do is in here I'm going to add my own class, and I'm going to call it splash activity. I'm going to save that, and you'll notice that appears there, and I'm going to copy this, paste this there. So if I got that wording wrong, I think I have it right. That's cool. Android version 7 compatibility, use version 7 compatibility. So I'll just put all my dependencies in there. Just make sure you have IntelliSense on. It makes it much more easier. The logins are mostly for debugging, which logins will appear on your output, and you'll be able to see the debuggings and create. So you got my theme, splash, this, that. Now when I come back here, I've got also my splash screen there, but I've also got styles. Now in styles I have a theme in styles, so I'm gonna copy that entire theme in style, and you'll notice this in every Xamarin project that there is a style to every Xamarin project. So I go to resources again, values, styles, and I'm gonna add a new style, which is that. It's the exact same thing as saying I'm adding just a new theme, a base theme that's coming across in there, and that'll be all that needs to be there. So all I gotta change is just the image. Um, let's hope that if I leave that as that, it should work. I assume so. If not, then we'll change this to blue. So my theme, splash, save all, and have my theme, which is the main launcher. So the main launcher is my splash activity that I'm having. I'm having a no history of it, and I'm going to my main activity, and I guess this is going to be a main launcher there. So I know there's some stuff that you need to change in here, so then your main launcher needs to be changed to false in here, and you can leave the main theme that you have currently for your this thing. So I'm gonna go to there and I'm gonna say false because I want my first initial theme of my splash screen to be the main launcher before I even enter the app into my main activity. So it'll be my secondary activity even though it's my main activity, because also eventually my splash activity becomes the overall activity. So I'm just gonna run that quickly. I hope there isn't any errors right now. So you'll notice that the error at the bottom has gone away for now because of that fix that I put in the BIOS and set it up. Usually sometimes you go to Windows features, turn on and off Windows features, and a screen like this will pop up, and you usually have to put on Windows Hyper-V platform and also Hyper-V, allowing it all to run in there. You don't need this here, but Hyper-V services you do need, and Hyper-V management tools you do need. So that's cool. So right now I added a new image, which is UFact, which is what I want to put into my splash screen instead of having the blue PGN. So I'm going to use a PNG, not a JPG file. So all I gotta do is just go here and say, okay, my drawable is now UFact, and there we go, it picks it up. So I'm gonna test this out. Let's see how good my skills are in working out exactly whereabout that is. So basically all you gotta do is just have an image in your drawable, have that splash screen XAML there, which is this. You can pause and look at it and copy and paste it, but I advise you most likely that if you do want to do a splash screen, go to this site, I'll have it in the description below, and you want to change the color of the background. You actually want to change your theme. You want to add a new theme. You don't want to change the entire theme, you just want to add a new theme. And you also want to add a splash activity and change the main activity from being the main launcher to the secondary launcher, and then make the main launcher your newest thing, and then the theme is now your theme that you added in as your splash, which was originally added into your styles. So that's one of it, and I hope I'm getting ready for my splash activity. Let's run this. I hope nothing's conflicting in here. If I've done it the right way, this image is compatible in any way. You can change most of what this really is, because here we go, we have our boot sequence starting up on the application itself. So it's relatively simple to create a splash screen, but I guess it's a little bit tricky when you don't know where stuff goes into the place. So I'm actually even gonna send this up because I've already set this up. Wow, that's too big. But you can see that you notice that I've changed that in there. So what I want to really do is I want to actually make this somewhat smaller than what it is actually. So I'm gonna try and see if I could do that. So my splash screen works. I'm gonna kill that. I don't really need to kill that, but besides that there, I don't really need to kill that. So I've got it centered in gravity and title mode disabled. So what I'm really looking for is the style of the approach of it. So I want it full screen false. So let's just make this false, and window no tile action bar. Hopefully, let's just try and make window full screen false. True. Let's hope that fixes that problem in that interim. So what that settings technically does is it expands the image to the full length of the screen, so by pixel. So you're actually seeing, like, because it's a high quality image, you're actually seeing the full picture but in a specific point in it, and because it's centered. So now that I know that it's built, let me just run this again. Requested by the user, so this is a core boot. Usually it takes a second or two to just start up again, but I'll show you. Next time I won't close this here, so it'll be a lot more faster in terms of me trying to show you guys exactly what the process may be going ahead. Okay, so it tells me now, right now, that two processes are currently building this project at once, which I don't want. So I'm gonna try and reduce the size of the screen and my new image in here. So I'm calling it UFact2, just to see if there's a difference in this thing. So basically, as you can see, you gotta get the stuff right. You gotta get the dimensions right and everything, but it's all explained in this here. I haven't had time to create an actual logo for you guys, but I'm just showing you a brief overview of how you can set one up. So since that's changed, and I want to make that UFact 2, that's an abbreviation for unbelievable facts. So I just want to do that, and let's see if that works. Compile it to Devurik. Devurik is usually the compiler that Xamarin uses to get down to the native version. So I want to see the change happening right now. Should be a lot more smaller. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's amazing. See, that's what I want as my splash screen now. And so I have that. Excuse me. So I have that as my splash screen now, because I've been requested on the splash videos quite a few times, and I never really thought of it as an issue until I looked at my apps and I thought, oh, okay, I have a blank screen and I need to resolve that in my last reviews of my videos. And I thought, okay, cool, maybe let me just figure this out. And it was really quite simple. You just gotta follow the steps. So I'll put all the links in the description. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.